All right, so we're all ready to analyze some philosophical arguments. So we're going back to the beginning. Number one, the physical universe exists. And a philosopher would say, this is self-evident. We don't need to go on and on about this. The physical universe exists. Now, some people might argue that it's self-evident, but we're going to say it's self-evident. And here's a picture of the Horsehead Nebula with a second nebula down there. It's breathtaking. I'm researching, finding different pictures, and you see there's so much of God's handiwork to choose from. Try to find the best. And this is objected by some, but we'll look at it more carefully under the objections part, number one. The history of the universe is a series of events in temporal succession. And again, this is like the domino. Each domino is one slice of time. And we saw those 4,000 dominoes. Each one of those dominoes caused the next domino, caused the next domino. Your ancestors moved from somewhere, I'm assuming, here, unless you're Native American. Well, that is a domino that set up, the domino that you're here eventually. That was a cause. Each slice of time can be thought of as one domino that causes the next slice of time to occur. Each slice of time can be thought of as a domino that causes the next slice of time to occur. The physical universe has either always existed or it was caused. Again, this is self-evident. There's only two possibilities. Either it's always been, or someone caused it to start being. The physical universe has always existed. If the physical universe has always existed, the history of the universe is a series of infinitely many events in temporal succession. So if we say there was never a beginning to the universe, there was never a first domino. If there's no beginning, there's never a first domino. So then you start kind of bending your mind, because each domino has to have an infinitely many dominoes before it. So you pick another domino, and it has an infinitely many, and you pick another one. That's just kind of the nature of infinite sets. But kind of starts putting the hurting on your brain after a while. The history of the universe cannot be a series of infinitely many events arrayed in temporal succession. This is the cornerstone of this argument. The cornerstone of this argument, and obviously, if someone's going to disagree with this argument or try to poke at it, this is going to be one of the key places that they're going to try to poke at this particular statement. Right. And so, we'll look at it more carefully when we get to the objections section. I just want you to kind of, right now, just understand how the arguments work. Because, in any philosophical argument, if you buy off on the premises, then you can prove anything. And then to attack the argument, you got to attack the premises. All right, the physical universe has not always existed. Well, this follows because we had two choices, remember? We had two choices in number 4, and then number 5 got rid of one. Right? So number 4 said either it always existed or it had a beginning. Number 5 said it couldn't have always existed, so it's not always existed. The physical universe had a beginning. Again, this is a logical conclusion from number 6. Logical conclusion from number 6. So, if the physical universe has not always existed, anything that hasn't always existed had to start from somewhere. We need to stand this. I know this is college classroom stuff, but that's good. So pacifiers are not forever. Pacifiers are not forever. I was just looking for something to kind of help bring us up here. But just like pacifiers are not forever, the universe is not forever. That's how you can remember this. Anyone? Have you ever seen this book? Ever? No. I was just searched for not forever, and that's what came up. So I thought it was good. All right, if the physical universe had a beginning, then the beginning of the universe had a cause. The beginning of the universe had a cause. And we'll say this is self-evident. Anything that has a beginning, something touched that beginning off. A spark touched the ignition off. The beginning of the dominoes, the little kid touched it off, right? And it started. The beginning of the physical universe had a cause. So this is another one of those if-thens that we talked about. We buy off on the if, then we get the then. So the if was, if it had a beginning, well, we already proved that it had a beginning. So then the result of that is that it had to have a cause. So these are logical conclusions from number 3, from number 6, number 7, and number 8. If the beginning of the physical universe had a cause, then the cause must either be an event or an agent. Like we said, those are only two possibilities. Those are only two things that cause other things, events or agents. So now we're going to eliminate events and we're going to be left with agents. This is self-evident. The beginning of the physical universe was caused either by an event or an agent. This is a logical conclusion from number 10 and from number 11. The cause of the beginning of the physical universe could not have been an event. Again, this is one of those premises that's going to be attacked. Right. So we're going to examine it more carefully. But in general, the beginning of the universe is a unique event in the history of the physical universe. It's the first, right? Right. If the first event in the history of the universe was caused by another event, then it's not the first event, right? So if we, the first event has to be the first event. And so the only thing that can cause, event has to have a cause, so we have to put an agent there. And we'll look more closely at that in objections. So finally, the cause of the beginning of the universe was an agent, and that's a logical conclusion from 11 and 12. This is the Eagle Nebula. And the hand of God touched all that off.
That's right. I have a question.
Yes.
If the world was meant to be forever, if Adam and Eve didn't sin, wouldn't there be evidence proving that it was meant to be forever?
Well,
that makes the other people think that it's forever or always existed?
Well, you're asking some deep questions here. First, I've got to ask, could God have created Adam and Eve where they didn't sin?
Yes.
Yeah. So God knows in His omniscience that Adam and Eve are going to sin, right? So He, in a sovereign, omniscient way, lines the clock just like He wants it, right? So it ticks down just like He wants it, right?
So before He created it, He knew they were going to sin, and so there was a time.
Yeah. And He also determined to send His Son into this world in the fullness of time to redeem those.
Yeah. Ephesians said He did that before the foundations of the world. So before He ever stretched out the heavens, it was a determined, right? Yeah.